my God, go fuck yourself. That was then. This is now, bitch. It's a whole new set of rules. It's Monday. If you ain't waking up with the taste of blood in your fucking mouth like a shark 5 feet from the shore, you fucked up. You understand? Because Monday is when you go every else in life. Still, the weekend, you fucking go.
Yeah, welcome back. It's another Monday. It's a motivating Monday. And more importantly, our third wheel is back in the building. Third host made it back into the United States, ladies and gentlemen, unscathed, at no warrants, didn't get shot, robbed, or stabbed, or abducted. Human trafficking is bullshit because he made it back, ladies and gentlemen. Amir Silly.
Right.
Good to see you, brother.
Welcome home, bro.
Thank you, man. Listen,
welcome.
I just been, the last 3 weeks or so, man, just had the blessings of getting on 2 cruises back to back, 2 cruise lines, Virgin Voyages. If you haven't had the opportunity to get on Virgin Voyages, please do yourself a favor and do a Virgin Voyages. The food is amazing. The ship is incredible. The port we went to was Costa Maya. That was really nice. Had an opportunity to check that out. And then I just went on MSC cruises and had the opportunity to go to I went to Casamigo, and then I went Costa Maya and Cozumel on MSC cruises. Another absolute phenomenal time, but more so, and you guys have heard me say this, and I say this all the time, do yourself a favor and travel, if for no other reason, just to see other parts of the world and see how other people live. There is something humbling about it. There's something amazing about it. And then there's just the whole idea of, even if you think to yourself, for whatever reason, that you may or may not be in the greatest space possible, you may not have as many things as you think you should, when you start to see how some of the rest of the world lives, you come back home and you're much more thankful for some of the things that you have. I'm just going to keep it a buck, because all that running around talking about, this isn't... When they got them roaming dogs in the areas that you visit, when you visit in the real spaces, and you're like, so nobody's claiming that dog, he's just running free. Okay, let me focus here. Not to mention just the way that those people have to hustle and or do what they need to do in order to survive. We take for granted a lot of the liberties and a lot of things that we have at our disposal. So again, I just encourage everybody, if you didn't travel this year, please do yourself a favor, travel next year. I don't care if it's to, going on a cruise, taking a plane, taking a train, go someplace, see someplace other than where you are, just so you can hopefully have some perspective. So that was my, last couple of weeks. And I can't tell y'all how much I just enjoyed seeing the world through other lenses and experiencing it with other people from around the, country. So that was dope.
Man, we're happy to have your ass back here, man. We missed you. You missed some good hot topics. Sean was on fire. I think we got some hate mail, email, death threats for Sean. I said, yo, that's what's up. Now we made it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Your show ain't making unless you get 2 death threats a year.
Right. Exactly. And King, and New York King, you forget, and
Sean Harvey, I'll murder him. I was like, yes.
Yes.
I said, he'll be in Harlem this Friday. So,
and New York King, in your brilliant intro, you forgot to also mention that A-Rock Sealy didn't fall in love with a Dominican chick while he was out there in the world.
Right.
A lot of brothers that travel.
He's a philanthropist.
Really?
See, regular niggas who travel, they get caught up. Sometimes they get caught up so bad. I seen they get caught up so bad. He fell in love with a Dominican chick, and she talked this nigga into getting a BBL. His ass is fat. So you could easily get caught up. But this nigga's a philanthropist. They be out there taking in the world. You know what I mean? And like I said, I would like to believe this about myself. And you're not a great person unless you start to believe this about yourself. You should believe that you leave a room, any room you step into, you leave that room better off when you leave out.
Yes.
Otherwise, you wasted the fucking time and the moment. Any room you step in, this is how you know you are a positive person. I like to believe I leave a room better when I leave out than when I walk in. You know what I mean? It could be 2 dudes disagreeing, fighting, whatever, beefing. I don't speak anymore. And by the time I leave that room, whether it took a half hour or 2 hours, they speaking. You know, the beef is deflated and diffused, and we're back to a normal situation. Matter of fact, somebody buying somebody some shots or a drink. So I like to believe that when I leave a room, because that's in our line of work, Sean Harvey, this side goes. If
Yeah.
you get up there on stage, I don't care, you got 10 minutes or an hour. When you get off and leave that stage, if you didn't change the vibe in that room, you can do your job.
Of course.
If you just ate up time and didn't make a difference, you didn't do whatever. Welcome to the show. I see on the bottom of the screen we got the Queen Bernadette, aka B Love, joining us because I need her today because I'm about to pick on both of us. Both genders gonna get it today because we fucked up, men and women. We're in a bad place and we need to talk about it. All right. Before we do that, we can recap. We just want to shout out Soul Joe's Comedy Club in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. Dope weekend. I just got off the phone before I came on here with the owner, who I happen to know and didn't know I know until I seen him. But this guy brought a property, 17 acres out there. And when I tell you this building and fucking the venue's amazing. It's like 4 venues in one. One is just the comedy club, then the big ballroom, then the restaurant, then where the band play. It's like amazing venue. But what stood out to me, staff was stupid wonderful. Like, when the last time you could walk away from somewhere like, yo, that staff was crazy. Like, I felt like when I left, I felt guilty. I felt like I should have tipped every nigga from the coat check to the. It was just too nice and happy to see you and friendly, and it was a beautiful thing. So, Joe, keep doing what you're doing. We got to go back out there. Sean's coming with me in February out there on the 22nd. Tommy Davidson. It's called Soul Joe's. It's in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. So shout out to them in the weekend recap. That was fucking stupendously awesome. Again, welcome my co-host Sean Harvey from the Sean Harvey Morning Show. Amir Celia today back again because she does a wonderful job. And let's face it, she just makes us look good.
Yes, sir. Yes,
If you're
sir.
ashy and your skin ain't right, you bring B-Love. B-Love raises the HD up 2 notches. So we are in 6K today. 6K. All right, so let's get right to the shit.
Thanks.
The main thing I want to bring up, I want to get to, first of all, shout out to the Stress Factory. I forgot. 2 days we got our holiday party, Wednesday, the 20th. We're at the Stress Factory, 7 o'clock, live band, live comedy, Christmas. And we do it every year for 15 years. So if you're in the Jersey area, you could get to the Jersey area, come on out, party with us, and celebrate the holiday. We don't care what you celebrate. You can have a tattoo of Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, you got a tattoo of Saint Nick by your day. We don't care. Whatever you celebrate, have a good time. Now, Bernadette. So where was I? I was in a car.
What?
I think it was the day before I went to Pottstown. And I was talking to a driver and we just got in this conversation. I said, ooh, I started texting myself like to remember it. I said, that's Motivation Monday. And we were talking about, basically we could put it under the title of the state of men and women as we know it right now. And all the complaints we may have, women about men, men about women. Oh, this used to be like that. This is like this now. We got to sit back. You do an injustice and you'll be remiss if you don't sit back and point out things why you think we're in this state. Okay, we know the state we in. Fellas beef about it all the time. Oh, these young bitches don't want to cook. You know, all they care about is this. And women beef about it all the time. He thinks all that shit. They bring that shit to the table. All that shit. Either way, how do we get here? And I'm going to splat on the wall a couple of things that I believe, and then you guys take your turn and do the same thing. I want to blame it. First thing I want to blame it on is the disconnect. There's a disconnect. Each generation learned from the previous generations how to do everything. I'm talking about from a job interview to holding a job, to going to a career move, to take care of your kids, to saving money, how to work a bank account, to articulation, education. There was a connect that was constant, generation after generation, that we learned from, and we went forward with that information. Some of it's trial and error, yes, but guess what? As soon as you bumped your head, you remember what your mom or your grandma told you, and you readjusted and fix it so you ain't bleed no more. I'm going to blame it on that, and I'm also going to blame it on social media and technology. I think that the combination of those things, when you get together, you put it together, you got a lethal bomb there. You got a lethal bomb, generation-wise. Because when I say the disconnect, like perfect example, you are less wiser when the generation does no longer get information from elders. You understand what I'm gonna say that again? You are less wiser if you stop getting information from your elder, because that's a problem. That's a big problem when you stop talking to the older people. Because you know what's the funny thing I always say to my young people? I say when they shrug their shoulders and suck their teeth when I'm trying to give them a jewel, I say, bruh, I've been how old you are. You ain't been here yet. You better hope and pray you do enough right shit to get here. I've been there. So that's why I'm equipped and qualified to tell you a thing or two. You really can't tell me a thing or two because you ain't been here yet. So I can't ask a 30-year-old man or woman about shit at 54. They ain't got here yet. Don't know what the fuck 50 feel like yet. But you know what? I was 30. I was in my 30s for 10 years. So I know what you're going through, kind of. I know what the obstacles in your way. And I think that disconnect transcends into social media, because who's most of the people, when you cut your log into your Instagram and your TikToks and Twitters and Facebook and all that, who's most of the people talking and giving out supposed jewels and information? Younger people. I'm supposed to sit here and watch a 45-minute live for a nigga that's 28? What's your thoughts? What am I wrong?
Yeah.
Well, first of all,
because you got to understand it from their timeline. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
First of all, I want to say our beloved B Love looks absolutely beautiful tonight.
I tell you, 5K.
And you are so right, man. Just her being on this platform brings this show tonight to a whole nother level. And I want to say one more thing. Welcome back to Amir Sealy. I do have to say, and I'll put a pause on this, I miss the bow ties, the sweaters, and the blazers. Now, this is the deal. This is the deal, in my opinion. The disconnect comes from one of the factors is the times that we live in today. Women have this overwhelming female masculinity that they're running with. Sometimes I think women are like dudes now. Sometimes I look at a woman, I need to talk to you like a dude, because I just think that women are so not all women, just a section of women. I think that the female masculinity of the women is a turnoff to men. Women want men to be at a certain level, which is nothing wrong with that. But the reality and the stats say that there's only a 0.5% of men that make $300,000 a year. Everybody else is average salary. And then women who have these degrees, which shout out to women, they got these degrees and they got it together. In a weird sense, I think that women, the times that we live in today, feel like they better than. It goes back to 20 years ago when you didn't need a man. A lot of women didn't need men. I don't need a man. I don't need a man. And that quote has sort of made this whole situation of this disconnect a virus. I believe, and I'll yield my time, I believe that female masculinity is one of the major reasons that we have this disconnect.
That's a good one. First of all, let me say something to rebuttal real quick to what you said that's very interesting. Is, back in the day when women used to yell that shit out. The difference in today is back then, that's all it did was yell that shit out. The same bitch that say, I don't need no motherfucking man, they keep a man. They say that shit. Am I lying? They say that back in the day. We said a lot of shit.
He wasn't rich.
Right, but that toughest bitch in the hood that said, I don't need no motherfucking man. I got my own thing. Every time you ring her doorbell.
Right.
Right.
Female masculinity.
He was the plumber, the maintenance man. No, I'm joking, guys.
It's on you, B-Love. What do you think? Am I wrong? Is it the disconnect? What do you think?
I just think we're misunderstanding. Sorry, we're misunderstanding. It's a different time. And I think we keep going back to, you know, our time and what used to happen in our time. Unfortunately, we messed that up. We did. This generation did. Right? When we thought that we knew more than our parents. Sorry, I'm working on my light situation. When we knew more than our parents and we decided we're not going to make them work hard for it because we worked hard for it and we didn't like the feeling. So we just going to give it to them. You know, we took away those values. We did that. And so now you have relationships. And it's so funny that you brought this up because earlier today I was thinking about how back up until 1950, women really didn't have rights. Women couldn't have credit cards and they couldn't have bank accounts and they couldn't own anything. And even when they got married, anything they owned automatically went to their husband. So when women say this, I don't need no man, it comes from something bigger than this arrogance that women carry today. Like, I don't need no man. We know. But the where it came from has so much more substance. We're asking a generation who grew up different and kind of with their own rules and no guardrails because we want them to think for themselves and make their own decisions. These are their decisions. They're thinking for themselves. How they do it out there. You know.
But I give you. It obviously it's different times. We know that. But to me, there's certain things I can't chalk up to it with times. Like, I don't give a fuck if when I die 5 generations from now, you know what should never play out? Respect. So something like respect should transcend after each generation. Now, as far as I half agree with you on it's our fault, but this has been going on for the longest of time. Each generation, for as long as we can remember, tried to work a little harder so their kids could have more and work a little less so they could get it a little easier. But what happened is, at some point, that recipe failed us. We followed that same recipe, but I think the timing of technology and that recipe, it bumped heads and it didn't work the way that it's worked for us and our parents and each parent that did that for their kids coming forward. Problem is technology. So we already making it easier, right? Physically. And then heck of technology making virtual easy. They ain't got shit to do.
No, well, you took out the main ingredient in that recipe: accountability. Who's accountable for anything? So why would I not even want to be accountable for somebody else's feelings, their emotions? I don't care. Like, people are so in that take it or leave it when it comes to relationships. It's like, I don't care if I'm like, it's, you know, because we've gotten to the point where it's like, I don't have to, because I don't have to. I don't want to. I want to deal with you and I don't want to deal with you. And if I want to deal with you, I'll deal with you and I'll let you know that. And you're going to deal with me back because you want to deal with me. Right. We've gotten to a place where it's just, it's not even a luxury. It's like DoorDash. Relationships are like DoorDash. What do you want? I want it hot and sexy. We'll call it out. Pull up Tina in the call contact list. Hot and sexy. Well, I want confident and smart today. All right, well, call on Lauren and pull that in. The options are there. I don't have to make a choice. And we were raised with like certain things in terms of there's not an option. So there's no accountability. There's they can do whatever they want. And yeah, you're asking why we're here.
Yo, there's some gangster shit. You basically saying that people have turned into the menu at McDonald's.
Basically.
You used to go one type of Happy Meal. Back in the day, you got a cheeseburger or a hamburger. Then all of a sudden, woke up, Sean, fast forward, niggas got McRibs.
Right.
I
agree. That's the thing. Give me a 1, 2, 6, please.
I agree. I think all of the points that have been made thus far are absolutely poignant to, you know, where we are. And I think one of the other things that we have to sort of factor in is people have also woken up to the idea that some of the models that we had as young people, whether they were our grandparents, whether they was our aunts and uncles, whether they were our immediate parents, did it really work out the way that we really anticipated? Because there are a lot of people just finding out that the lady who you've been calling your grandmother or your aunt is really your mama. Look, see that this the part that I always love, because we don't really want to be honest about what's really going on, and these are things that are really going on, coupled with, again, we've shared this on numerous occasions. You thought that your dad or your mom was the greatest person on the planet until he or she died. And at funeral, you was like, they all look like us. Who's that over there? Those your brothers and sisters that lived across town. See, I'm not going to get on here and just act like everything is all rainbows and sprinkles and unicorns. We have a lot of family trauma. We have a lot of personal trauma. And to something that, you said a second ago, Bernadette, accountability doesn't start with trying to fix the people and things that we think are wrong. Accountability starts right here at home. And there's a lot of us who won't do that part. Because once you kind of get that part, making decisions, doing the right thing becomes a lot easier and a lot different, because now you understand who you are and why you move, think, and do the things that you do. Nobody wants to be honest with themselves about that. So we keep pushing that on other people. I don't know how I keep ending up with people like her. Yes, you do. Your energy responds to that. You like drama and craziness.
So hold on, Amir, you sound like, correct me if I'm wrong, you started to sound a little bit like chickens are coming home to roost.
A little bit there, a little bit, and the part of it coming home to roost, which is so interesting for most of us, is it's hard to take that look in the mirror and go, oh my God, all these years I tried to follow these patterns and these ideologies, and now as an adult, depending on where you are, I have to take accountability, but more so, I have to unlearn some of the crazy stuff that I held so near and dear to myself for so long, because as y'all said, some of it came from the elders in your family and so forth and so on. And you found out they were lying. Damn it, man. So you're trying to fix it. And I think that is a part of this conversation as well.
Okay, well, I don't argue with that. I mean, you all have valid points that you splatted on the wall, but we have to look at, let's dive a little deeper, because we scratched the surface with family. We all touched on upbringings and disconnects and da-da-da-da. So now let's move forward to the next part. The next part is this younger generation. When we look at it, unfortunately, we can't just draw that. I wish we could just draw that line in the sand and, that we over here, y'all niggas over there, fuck y'all. You can't. You know why? I'm going to tell you why you can't. Because God gave us a gift and a curse at the same time, whether people want to recognize it or not. I watched the thing with Kirk Franklin, a clip with him talking to Shannon Sharp, and he was saying something to the effect of men's pride. He said, well, men spend too much time admiring a woman's look and her body and her physical attributes and actually talking and getting to know and understand her, right? Which is a little validity there, but in that validity, you got to understand it's the gift and the curse of God. When God gave us eyesight is a gift and a curse. Obviously, for obvious reasons, it's a gift. You get to fucking see where the fuck you're going and bump your fucking head or fall in the sewer. So obviously, the gift part is easy, but the curse part is, yeah, I'm going to start judging before I know, because my sight showed me first. Now, I might go a paragraph in to question it, to learn it ain't what it looked like. They say don't judge a book by the cover. So that comes later, but first is your eyesight. So the other gift and the curse God gave everybody is their genitals. The reason we can't draw a line in the sand is because that 32-year-old girl gonna be fucking that 48-year-old man, and vice versa. Well, I know when I was young, the biggest attraction to me as a 17, 18-year-old is that 30-year-old woman. I could have sex with that 30-year-old woman. Oh my God. I'm going to put this young, smooth, brown 17-year-old dick in that 34-year-old chocha. Are you so excited? Really? But this is a part of us. Let's be real. This is a part of us this is why we can't draw the line. And the other part we can't draw, that's you person to person, like just dealing out in society, regular people, whether you know them or not, walking in a room, in a club, or whatever, show, whatever. Now, the other part of that drawing a line is saying why you can is because you have kids this age, right?
Right.
So now that you have kids this age, you can't draw a line. You got to pick that phone up. You got to open that door every time they go, Mom, Dad, this happened. I need this. I can't believe this. Can you believe this? They try to do this to me, blah, blah, blah. So as a mother or father, you have to be involved with that still. So it's not as easy as saying, you know what, y'all generation, fuck that. Go over there. Now, some things will change generation. Music, I give you that all day. Oh, you know, this ain't your generation. We won't. Cool. Thank God for CDs and downloads, and my shit ain't never going nowhere. In my life, I'm gonna listen to this shit till I die. Fuck y'all in the streets. So I expect that part. But the fundamentals of being a person, a human being, respecting another human being, that should never play out. That should never get discounted or discarded. Something simple like, you know, articulation, your respect, how you treat stuff, what's important, what's not, showing up on time, being there for somebody. Somebody put a post up the other day, was like, people undervalue just being there for somebody. They undervalue that shit. Like, people are so overvaluing, or what I can give you, or what I could bring for you, or what I could hook you up with, or this, that. You undervalue the most important thing.
Well,
that
look,
person
you know,
may need an ear be the difference in life and death. Boy, Sean, I'm sorry.
well, you know what it is. I find the younger generation entertaining. It entertains me on social media. I mean, when I talk about young folks, I'm talking about from 32 to 40. You know, like the young folks, 25 to 40.
Right.
The way they articulate, you know, the struggle. But to drive to your point with social media, it's just social media polarized everyone. No one has no feelings. No one feels nothing for nobody. For example, you can put a post on social media and someone can just put any kind of disrespectful post or a post with no feelings to it. So we're polarized in that sense. And then in another sense, there's one thing that's trickled down from generations. Women think men ain't shit. Okay, we went past that. We know it. But women, what fascinates me about that situation is that some women have this struggling baby mother attitude, even when they're not even baby mothers. And that fascinates me, that men are almost prejudged already out the gate. You could look, you just talk about giving a curse with your eyesight, and I don't know if Stevie Wonder ever had that problem. He's always been around beautiful women.
That nigga can see.
I actually believe that with the younger folks, you talk about the younger generation, I found them very entertaining. I might listen to some of them. A lot of the younger folks is really animation. Most of it is just polarization because no one has no feelings. Men are still trash, and women are still struggling with the baby mother syndrome without being the baby mother, which I find absolutely fascinating. From my beloved women in the world. Not all of them, just a small percentage. And I think that the small percentage of women that spread a lot of this attitude and this energy out there, unfortunately, it trickles down to all the other women, unfortunately.
The word, B-Love threw it up earlier, accountability, right? And here's two other words let's throw out there. Let's throw out repercussions and consequences. So, because we're quick to make actions, and a lot of times off of emotion. So I'm in the bar last night because I found that this became a very heated conversation inadvertently. It wasn't even supposed to be. Rick was just talking. Yeah, I'm in a bar every night I can get it. You think I'm dealing with niggas in this?
On any given
You think I deal with niggas in this world 24 hours sober?
We know.
Let me tell you something, B. I made a conscious decision a long time ago. I will not deal with this world sober eyes.
I hear you.
It rained. What night? I want to say was it Wednesday? It was Tuesday or Wednesday last week. I end up sitting here and on the couch and changed my mind. Like, you know what? I'm just gonna chill. Because I was gonna go. I go in the bar. I'm a social drinker, so if my peeps want to go, we can go. But if it ain't nobody going, somebody wasn't feeling well, and I go, I said, fuck it, I'm not going. But shit, I'm not dealing with you people. You people are crazy in this fucking world. This is how this show came about. It was the end of the world. It was the end of the world when we made this show up. So here's the thing. So Rick is in the bar, and Rick just talking to Tina brings up, she asked him some shit about his kids and the disconnect and this, that, and the other. And he goes, well, let me take you back to how my disconnect happened. I mean, he said, I'm cool with my kids now, but was there a time? Yeah, he said, absolutely. He said, but you got to realize something. He said, my wife at the time, their mother, we're married. And I took on extra job. I got kids now. The baby boy is 6 months. He's like, so I'm taking on extra work. He said, that's how he started working with me. It's like, I'm doing TV shows, make a little extra change, and I'm going to stay extra hours at my barbershop. So he's putting it together, preparing to raise this little boy. And he said one night she was just tired of this shit. And he came in and she said, you know what? Pack your shit and go. It's 2 in the morning. These niggas are in bed. This nigga is trying to fall asleep with 2 in the morning. I can pack your shit and go.
Wow.
He said, you serious? Like half sleepy? And she was like, absolutely. Get out now.
Wow.
He said he didn't want to get into a confrontation. He got some garbage bags and shit, because who the fuck got real bags and boxes? You don't know you're getting kicked out at 2 in the morning, right? So he threw shit in the bags and shit. And he said, I left. He said, and my father and my father's father always was adamant about telling me, instead of getting into something that could lead to something else, don't look back. Go to fuck. The woman got the right of way, in other words, like traffic. So he said, I left and I never looked back, right? So he has a barbershop. We're in the smallest town. They know where the shop is at. The daughter still, comes to the shop, whatever. But you have this baby at 6 months. So Tina's point goes into the more maternal view of it and was like, but what does that have to do with your son and that? And he's like, listen, this kid is 6 months old. I don't want to hear that, oh, you ain't got to deal with me, but you come deal with your kid. He's 6 months. So to come deal with him in 6 months, I got to deal with you. It's impossible. It's not like me meeting my daughter who's 9 or 10 and we go spend our time and I drop off and I ain't got to deal with you. I still have to deal with you because this is a baby. Now, from the other side, from my side, I'm looking at it playing devil's advocate. And I'm like, well, Tina, that's unfair, because if you're a woman and you're married to this man, and you look at a 6-month-old baby, you should be smarter in putting your exit strategy together than 2 o'clock in the morning kick him out with this 6-month-old. Yeah, there's going to be some struggle and shit coming behind that. You didn't think about the fucking consequences and repercussions of this decision.
Yep.
Am I wrong, B?
Nope, not at all. Well, I think, when you in that moment, sometimes the woman just snaps. And y'all all been at that snap moment where a chick is like, I don't care. I don't care what time you came in. I don't care that the house burned down. I don't care if your car's on fire. I don't care. Matter of fact, your stuff is at the door. All you got to do is grab it and you turn out. Right? Is it right? No. But
she proactive, Amir. B-Love is proactive.
Yeah, it's at the door. Matter of fact, the lift is there too. Just let them know where you're going. I'll make it easy and clean. This is not complicated. But I think people do a lot of things. You said it out of emotion, and emotions make you do certain things at certain times. I think these kids know well enough what's right and wrong. We may have taken some things away. I think as parents, we have tried to teach them right and wrong, and they know right and wrong. You can tell by the things that they do. The problem is that they live in this world where my thoughts are the only thing that matter. And I know even with my kids, I'm like, okay, so while you're making decisions, it's impacting other people. Do you understand that? No, my world is the only world that matters. And when you're in that, you don't really care about the other side of it. We grew up with consequences and repercussions. Even not speaking to an adult. Walk in the room and not speaking to an adult. Like, did you have teeth after? Your jaw was on the floor. These kids today walk in, they don't say a word. And this is why I say it comes back to sometimes for me, I have to this is where I have to do my work. If I was wondering or had any second doubts about, on one hand, I'm like, I'm a grandma. I like to travel. I like to do my thing. I don't like to sit around. But now I have a new grandson now. I have 2 young grandbabies. grandsons, and I have a 14-year-old granddaughter, and the mom works, and it's a lot of flashbacks of us. We worked. We were either working or in school, trying to make something happen. So we need to be filling in. And I know me and Amir have our F those kids, and we do F those kids. But at the same time, they're ours too. And if they're not doing these things, it's because we're not teaching them, and we're falling short. I'm sorry. How else is my granddaughter supposed to know certain things to say and do when mom is at work all the time and mom is not talking to her? That's where grandma comes in. Grandma's like, what's up? What's going on? What we need to talk about. We need to talk about boys. We need to talk about bullying. What do we need to talk about? Because we've been there, and I had that. We have to start becoming, and listen, it's not our job. I know we did our job, but as grandparents, we're still just as accountable. And that's what I'm seeing happen. And we getting on, we doing our own thing. The kids are not being paid attention to. They're out here, they're growing up on this. They come out of the womb, and the first thing they smack them with is the Apple kit. Here's the iPad for the Blippy and the cartoons. Here's the phone. Call me if you need a snack. I'm downstairs. You know what I'm saying? We're not holding them to the things that we used to do.
Well, you just naturally segued into part B of it. Part B was, what is the state of the parents? And you already dove into that naturally. And I agree, Amir. Like, what is the state of the parents? You know what I mean? Because I remember having arguments with something simple like a cell phone when my kids were, very young. And the mom was trying to give him a phone, and we were disagreeing about when do you give the kid the phone.
Yeah.
Not thinking about that. It's just there's so much can go on with that phone, and it's distracting. So I need you to be at a certain age where you understand what the phone is actually for, why I got you the phone. Not just like all the things you can do. And, oh, look, I can download games and blah, blah. Because then you're going to be distracted. And I already know what that's going to mean with schoolwork and stuff like that.
No question. And it's amazing because I think thus far, all of the points that have been made, especially the electronics part of it, is probably the most pertinent part. But I don't think that we have definitively fallen down on the job as parents. I think what has happened is there is an overload of information. We grew up in a time and in an era, and we're the generation between the baby boomers and all the retarded kids that are now a part of this world, or the generations that are part of this world. And I say that lovingly, but I say that with disrespect.
People trying to blend it.
Yeah. So, and the reason why I say that lovingly is because if you remember, we were the last generation of this saying, because I said so. There was no more questioning after that. That was the end of the conversation. You mumble stuff on your way out of the room, which could either lead to a shoe to the back of the head, being chased with a broom, whatever was closest or whatever, or just a good old-fashioned smack to the back of the head, which might lead to you waking up in the middle of next week. But I say all of that to say, in this new generation, they question you on the spot, whether it's your, baby grandchildren or your children. And I will say this, because like Bernadette said, her and I have had these conversations, sometimes, and I've had this with Talent, haven't had them so much with Sean. But I know for a fact that you've had conversations with your children where, let's just say, before they've gotten to the 30 stage, so forth and so on, but they were, going through those moments where they were trying to figure things out. And you were like, look, I'm not saying that this is what you have to do, but I'm giving you this as some of the things that you may want to look at, think about, and or factor into your thinking. Right. And your kids hit you with this. I don't want to hear that. You old. You don't know nothing. Now, fast forward to where we are now. And I can say this because it's my daughter, and she'd get mad at me if she want. She was going to be, or I had explained to her, I said, hey, baby girl, why don't you be a nurse? I don't want to be a nurse. I want to be a phlebotomist or whatever the hell that is. Cool. I said, look, I don't know how well phlebotomy does and translates into the rest of the world, but I know a nurse is a nurse no matter where you are in this entire world, and it would allow you to be able to have a solid life. She said no. Now we fast forward to where we are now, and she's hitting me with to the point that you all are making. Dad, I need money for this, that, the third. Really? Well, let me let you in on a little secret. See, when I was the same age as you, and your grandmother said to me, hey, These are the things that I need you to think about and to look at. Guess what Dad did? I looked at and thought about them. I factored them and then made the decision so that this way I would never have to hear that. I told y'all tonight, I'm being honest. We can do all this other stuff. I'm keeping it a buck because one of the problems that we have, like I said, as a generation and as parents, is sometimes keeping it a buck. So now I got this grown child who's mad at the world because nobody loves me and people don't care. No, everybody's cared. But we were giving you the advice and giving you things that you could have and should have done. You said to me, F you. Technically. Not, right. Physically, but technically. So with that, now comes the part that you guys just mentioned, which is the repercussions and consequences. Yep. And see, I'm one of these people. And I say this because y'all brought up something that is near and dear to my heart. I was one of the first people in my whole neighborhood to get a pager. I wasn't a doctor. Obviously, I wasn't a street pharmaceutical salesman or any of that stupidness. I just thought it was cool. So I was like, look, I'm going to get me a pager. Come in, walk into my mother's house, who then turned to me and said, are you a doctor? No. Are you a lawyer? No. Then why the hell do you need a beeper? But I had paid for it. So she couldn't be but so mad because it came from the money I spent, from the work I did. And again, part of the problem that we have now is these kids are so used to us having given them stuff that when you now have to turn on the light to say, how do you work for this? Or what game plan do you have in order to get to that place? We sitting here going, huh? I don't need huh. I need answers. I can help you once you got a game plan. I can steer you down some pathways and say, hey, don't go down that block. They robbing people on that block. I know. I've been down that one. Don't do that.
First of all, Sean, he was a better son than me. My mother been like, you a doctor? No. You a lawyer? No. The fuck you doing?
Yo, New York King. New York King. I want to also say that Amir Sealy he doesn't know how funny he is. You're a true joy. Phlebotomists are needed all over the world, and phlebotomy is definitely a career. And also, you're right. We had to duck every other night because the shoe was coming at our head as children. But your kids have rights today. You can't beat a kid no more. You go to jail. But here's the interesting part about that. And this is shocking news I'm gonna share. There are really some good parents out there that are putting in that work, and this extra work because of B-Love just showed us the device. It's extra work for parents today to make sure their kids are going down the right path. It's super vigilant now. Right now, this is the generation where you really have to be the best parent you could be because of all the other outside obstacles and all the other variables and all the other devices. So shout out to these parents. I wouldn't want to be a parent today. I don't want it. I don't. My daughter, God bless her, just had a child. God bless her. I don't want to be a raising kid right now because I don't think I'm equipped for it.
I'm ready to be a grandparent. Fuck that, bro. I'm about to make history, nigga. I'm about to.
What?
I'm watching my kids and the timing, but I'm about to be a grandparent and I'm gonna have a baby same time.
What?
I want to see these niggas play together.
Another baby. Oh, not you. So you can't afford another baby.
Oh no, I'm not having another baby. My shit is grown. I'm about to have another baby, but I'm trying to turn it so the nigga could grow up with maybe my son's baby. And these little cousin nephew niggas could do what the fuck they do.
You have Spider-Man and Black Panther.
We gonna have what if both our sons go to the NBA? We had a fucking game. They play for the Knicks. Niggas like, oh, you live for your grandson? Nah, my son.
That's my grandson. They played each other.
That's hilarious.
I'm gonna be the worst nigga ever. Watch. Be in the fucking room. Got two babies. You got two babies? They twins? Nah, it's my grandson. My But they grow up
You-
together. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna have the
That's
same value.
hilarious.
That's my point.
One.
My
Oh,
point is
man.
gonna have the same fucking value. Now, okay, we talked about the state of us. We talked about the state of the kids, the state of the parents, and I agree with B-Law. She hit a point where that was a natural thing. You talked about you in there somewhere. You said how even though we're grandparents, there's a part to play, and there's a role to help pick up on and help this along. This is what grandparents have always been. Grandparents have always been the fucking the people that come in when you fucking up as a parent and check it, correct it, maybe substitute here and there. But they've always been the glue between these next two generations because they know you don't know everything. You're not a good parent if you don't own up to your own kids' idiosyncrasies. Like you got it. I got 6 kids. I know the dumb ones. I
Yeah.
know the dumb ones. So people go, yo,
No,
get your
they
kid to do
probably
that.
they too
They're not
busy
all the same.
too short and with talent in Texas. So
Yeah.
that's why the grandparents are not grandparenting because they with talent in Texas.
But see,
on weekends.
I'm not a real grandparent yet. But when I become a real grandparent, shit, I'm see one thing about me is
You're
I
not
was niggas say T,
gonna,
you ain't gonna be at the ski trip. I'm gonna be at the ski trip,
yeah,
but
I
I'm
was
gonna
gonna
have
say
that baby on my chest, that strap.
oh Lord,
Be
poor
that
baby.
motherfucker with the baby on the chest, throw a couple back,
The
you know,
little headphones.
get a little bit of baby mouth with wipe that tequila off your mouth, little nigga.
Yeah.
But the point is, but she had a good point when she's saying like, there's a part in there, bro. All jokes aside, there's a part where, especially now, because grandparents are getting younger and younger.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it ain't like when we was growing up. I can't remember my grandma under 50 something, 6 something. No, these motherfuckers 40 something now.
Yeah.
And grandparents 39, 38.
When I say that, I mean it. They doing comedy in Harlem. Like people our age who are grandparents don't want to be grandparents. Like no offense, I don't want to do the crappy diapers anymore. Like I'm to the point where I'm like I don't know how I got crappy diaper duty, but I passed. I don't did my due diligence with it. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I want my freedom. I want to go where I want to go. I did my parenting. I wasn't, you know what I mean? Like I'm still parenting.
But you
But
still got to step in as grandma.
yeah, I'm at 51. I'm not prepared to put the heels up and be like, oh, I'm done. I didn't have a baby. Y'all did. I'm just here to
So
support.
hold up. What's the irony of the time? The timing of this shit is ironic to me. The timing of so we got a dumbass generation of young people. It's getting fucking worse, right? But at the same time, they banned the Roe v. Wade. Can't get the abortion. So now you stuck with these dumb motherfuckers. You got to keep making more of these. You can't get rid of them because it's against the law. You know, but like Amir used the word retarded. When you knew you was a little off, you got, you know what? I'm not bringing a nigga into this world because I got to break the chain. My family is this, that, it's in the DNA. It could be anything. Back in our time, it was the crack baby. That was a big deal. Oh, he's a crack baby. Mother did all the crack while she was pregnant with him, and it affected the baby's attitude and learning. And that's when right after that is when they started to label everything the ADDs. You know what I mean? The attention deficit disorders and all of that shit started to come right after that. Like, oh, it's because his mom drank. Oh, his mom did a lot of drugs when she was pregnant, which may or may not be true. I'm not a fucking scientist or doctor, but
No.
still, we all got fucking consequences and repercussions of all of these actions, and we're all wrapped in this one thing. That's the thing about DNA and being related to somebody in the bloodline. You don't get to leave your bloodline.
Exactly.
I don't care
But
where
what
you
I
move.
find interesting is, and I think Amir and Sean, you definitely gonna be chipping in, is that these COVID babies are very different. I don't know, and I'm not gonna say it's shots because my grandson has no shots, but these kids are very different. It's almost like they coming back to put the parents back in check because the way that they speak and the way that they, I mean, my two, first of all, I'm gonna give y'all two names, Blippy and Miss Rachel. Y'all put y'all grandkids onto these two, they will be rocket scientists. My grandson could talk to you about things that I've never even heard of, the parts of it, how it works. And I'm just sitting here like, okay, so TV ain't bad. So it's the right TV, right? Counting from 1 to 20, knows all of his colors, knows every, like, it's they're very different, is what I'm saying. So it's not like, I kind of feel like maybe this little generation that's passing through, it might be an anomaly. I'm hoping that it is, because they don't have no common sense at all.
You got more hope than me, Amir and Sean. My hope is out the window for the mere fact of technology goes this way, not this way.
Yeah.
So if I thought there was an inkling possibility that they would pull back on technology, I would have hope. But because it's just constantly speeding this way, it's like, and there's always people plotting of how to use said technology. See, things are not invented for. I truly believe that a lot of this shit, 90% of this shit is not made for evil purposes. But yet, there's evil minds out there that will twist and thwart whatever you made to use it for evil. That's just the way. And it's our fault because we created an environment where the negative sells more than the positive.
That's true. You're absolutely right on that, T.
And you think we got a problem now? You know, we were on the verge of AI, artificial intelligence now. You think we got a problem with the device?
They got the Allen Iverson was coming back.
You're gonna have artificial parents out here. You can literally build your own parent. You can build somebody that co-signs everything that you throw at them. There's a lot going on out here in this world, and we have to be well equipped with it. No question about it. And like I said, I'm kind of grateful that I'm not in that realm. But B, you're right. It's time to be a grandparent. It's what it is. But the challenges today that these parents are having are overwhelming, and I think it's going to be worse. So my whole thing is, Amir, I wish we could go back to the days with the broomstick, because that might handle the problem. We can't do the broomstick.
Well, what broomstick?
Try it.
The broomstick, and the shoe. The broomstick that my mother used to hit me with when I did something crazy in the kitchen.
Right.
You got a broomstick?
I got the broomstick, the belt, the shoe, the oven, the kitchen sink. Everything was thrown at me when I was a kid.
Is your mother throwing ovens?
Say that again?
How strong is your mother throwing ovens?
Yo, my mother, let me tell you about my mom. I was like 21, 22 years old, and she disagreed with me and picked up a broomstick. I'm like, Ma.
First of all,
Ma.
First of all, I would have hit you with a broom too, because that line right there was out of line. She disagreed with me, nigga.
Right.
It's not no disagreement, motherfucker. You the kid.
Yeah, no doubt.
You got it fucked up. She disagreed with me. This nigga sound like his name on the leaf. Yeah, one day I came home, my mother boom, like this. Yeah, bro.
Right. But you see what happened. But I tell you what, let a child come in today and disagree with their parent. It's nothing the parent they could do about it anymore. You got a therapist they have to go to. There's counseling. There's a lot. Children are out here disagreeing with their parents every 7 minutes of the day. And unfortunately, there's a small percentage of parents that can't do nothing with these children. And this is with a child being 10 years old. They're not even teenagers yet.
He is not wrong. And it's scary when you have to deal with it on the other side. Like when you're out in public and you're seeing, you know what I mean, the shenanigans and situations. And it's like, on one hand, I'm like, I know my little terrorists be acting up too, so I'm not going to judge. But on the other hand, I'm like, snatch his little tail up. What are you doing?
And listen, New York King and, excuse me, interrupt, the New York King and B-Love is a perfect example. We see young kids doing the grab and go right now in luxurious stores. These are 13-year-olds to 17, 18-year-old kids doing this. The parenting skills is out the window right now.
Yeah.
But see, I don't understand how parents, because I must be a fucking anomaly, because with all of these rules and regulations they call themselves changing into, I never adhered to none of this shit. Like, why niggas was scared and calling the child protective service, I was still whipping the shit out of my kids. I was still fucking them up. My house was still my house was still my grandparents' house. Like, I didn't give a fuck about all of that because I was raised a certain way. I look at it like this. I know how I turned out. I'm a math nigga. I tell people all the time, the numbers don't lie. Do the numbers. I was raised a certain way. They did what they had to do to keep him straight and narrow. I got it. Not too late, not too soon, but I got it.
Right.
And look how I turned out. So I do the math and go, you know what? All those numbers added up. I came out good. So I'm going to follow that blueprint. So when they start saying, oh, you got to stop whooping the kids and talk to them and put them on timeout and, oh, they're going to call this and we're going to take you to court and we take your kid. I look at it like this, man. I'm going to whoop the fuck out of my kids when they do whoop-worthy shit. Now, if you want to come and take these bad niggas,
it ain't that simple, bro.
It is that simple, short.
How
many changes of clothes?
No, it's not. You know what? If you do, I live in the state of Pennsylvania. If you do that and you say take these kids and they put they put your kids in a shelter in the state of Pennsylvania, the parents have to pay for that. It's not like New York where you take them to the shelter and you have them and child services is gonna take care of them. In certain states in this country, if you throw your kids out, you gotta pay for it.
No. But see, you done turn my whole scenario to something else. That's not the scenario, bro. You done changed my whole scenario to something else. You need to get the fuck out the woods. Listen, what I said. That's what I said. This motherfucker done changed my whole shit. You said I put the kids.
I don't want you to throw nobody out.
That's not what happened. Okay, let me back up. I don't give a fuck what state you're in. This holds true. The new laws that change, you're not supposed to put your hands on these kids.
Right.
If you do, the kids call them on you. The state gets involved, and you got to go through all this shit, and then they do their assessment. So what they are threatening to the parents is, we'll take your kids because you're unfit. You know what I mean? You're beating this kid, blah, blah, blah. We'll take them. So my thing, what I'm saying to you is, if that's the threat for me disciplining mine, take them. You're not going to threaten me with, well, we'll take them. Okay, because as soon as you take little man in there and you see what the fuck man been doing and why I punch him, I got $20. You going to put your hands on me. You want to see a judge jump over that goddamn counter and try to duff this little nigga up? Because I know what's going on here. I'm not talking about those. We're talking about this situation. I don't want to be insensitive to those kids that's caught in fucked up situations where these people are fucking out of their mind, just beating the shit out of these kids. We're not talking about that. We're talking about changing the rules and the gravity of the situation. When the law stepped in and said, you know what? Nah, we're not gonna let y'all discipline your kids like that no more. Put the belts away, put the switch away. You can't. No, I don't even want you open hand smacking them, whatever. You're not allowed. This is the government telling you about you and your bloodline and your offspring. So what I said was, yeah, I heard all that. I knew the laws or whatever because they made it very clear, you know, like the government does when they want to. Everybody knew. But I said in my house, old-fashioned remedies were still going on. And the kids, I'll never forget, my middle son, when they looked at me, because he's a smart, genius motherfucker, the young one, he looked at me, getting the belt ready. This nigga look at me like, oh, like, he damn near had like the paperwork. Like, you can't hit me, you know. He got a face like, this nigga can't be serious because you're not allowed to. When that nigga brain, I tell exactly what his thought was. When his brain was like, you're not allowed. Wah, number one.
Right. To do that.
And his whole face was like, the fuck is going on? What's going on is the government ain't this my house. Your sound is off, Amir. Your sound is off. Can't hear you, Amir. Can't hear you.
Oh my God.
Can't hear you.
Yo,
Go out
B,
to
That's hysterical.
There's something wrong with the New York King.
No. I know it sounds
Yo,
crazy.
he is crazy. That is no.
Yo, that's hilarious, bro.
Bro, he looked at me with the look of he had this fucking cocky. He had to be about 11.
Can you hear
And
me
he
now?
had this cocky, yeah, I hear you. He got this cocky little. What that song is? I said what I said. That shit.
Say, yeah.
He
Yeah,
had that shit. Well, I'm getting my grip ready, so I can see his whole thought process putting it together. Like he must
They
don't
ain't
know. I
making
know, nigga. This came out. You can't. Voila!
I did what I did.
That thing leaning that couch like what the fuck? And I said, yeah. The one thing I would tell you about my son Talent, and that my pastor,
Oh my God.
because Talent's the oldest. See, Talent, I always say Talent's my best kid. When I say that, I never seen a dude so smart, like get it so quick as a kid. As a kid, and 17, I give him 17 years before he got out of my house. So 17 years of living, I can count his ass whoopings on one hand.
Yeah.
That's great. And the numbers I grew up in?
Yeah.
Think about it.
No question.
We got this shit in 6 months. This was this nigga numbers in his life. Because every time I whooped him, he would get it and he wouldn't do shit. Especially, he never did the same thing twice. That's how you know you're getting it. But he wouldn't do shit for a long time. And even when he did shit, the ass whooping it went from less severe to more severe because now, as a dad, I'm thinking, dude, you're getting too old for this shit. Like, you're older now. Some of this shit is fucking asinine to me that you thought that at your age now. So I would say 5. I might be wrong, maybe 6, but ain't no more than that in 17 years of living.
No.
His last ass whooping was 13.
The only thing I was going to add to it is, to your point and, to the point of the conversation is, even though the laws have changed, that's part of the problem. Because to the point of allowing the state into your home under any circumstance, it doesn't have the effect that it needs to have because these people don't live in your home. They don't deal with the smart retorts. They don't deal with the definitive bad behavior. They don't deal with the fact that your children, even though, again, like I said, you've given them structure, you've given them certain ideologies and things that they can follow, they don't follow. They don't know any of that. So when you come in there and you go, well, assessment, I always hate, even when people say, let's go to counseling. Counseling is only going to see a snapshot of the stupid shit that we do. What's counseling going to figure out? That's the truth. It's only going to see a snapshot. Because in all fairness, if you ever argue with your significant other, or even your kids for that matter, there are 900 things that happen in a 15-minute time span with that person. You ever have an argument, you go from laughing to cursing to crying, back to laughing to cursing, and that all happened by the time you get to where you're in front of somebody, everybody's trying to be on their best behavior. I usually speak to my father and my mother in this tone. That's not how your kids speak to you. They never speak to you in that tone, ever. But today, for the purposes of we're gonna put on a show and act as though, first of all, calling me father. You don't even call me father. You call me dad, pop. What are we doing? So that's what I'm saying. Again, there's a lot of fugazi, odd stuff that we do. We put into the atmosphere. We try to make people believe until the lights go off, and then we go back to being regular. Yo, let me tell you, this little mother. So the reality of it all is there are no definitive hard solutions for any of this. There is just us having to make adjustments on the fly as these things present themselves and making an adjustment maybe in that moment for that particular situation. Down the line, though, maybe having to revisit it and see if there's something else that could be done differently or can be handled in another way. But usually there in the moment, I can almost guarantee my other 3 co-hosts here on the line today, we're at the end of the year. And if you haven't done this or if you're not doing this, shame on you. You're supposed to be assessing the year. Go back to January and think about some of the stupid stuff you did in January that you probably aren't doing now in December. Yeah. But in all fairness to you, you're not doing it because, like Talent said, hopefully you've gotten the message. You're starting to learn certain things and go, oh, hey, that's not going to work. Bernadette said it, plainly. Her granddaughter is 14. You got a 14-year-old. Do you remember what you were like when you were 14? You thought you knew everything. You was a smart mouth little hopped up on hormones and foolishness. So a lot of times we have to factor that in. When I talk to my kids or my grandkids, they tell me stuff, I'll be like, all right, now let me think back to when I was that age. Yeah, I was a little stupid too. Okay, look, let me just explain this to you. And then I try to give them honest to God answers and things that you look at Pop now and you happy about this. Pop was stupid when he was your age too, just so we clear. So let's start there. So this way you don't think that I'm giving you some convoluted, I used to eat dirt. Whatever you have to tell your grandchildren to get them to. But I'm just saying, it's a lot of that kind of stuff that we kind of shy away from. It's like when early this year when the tapes came out about Freaknik. Remember the whole world freaked out and everybody was going crazy. Like, what you freaking out for? Your grandchildren can spot you. Is that grandma in the hood of that car? God damn. Grandma, I didn't know you could shake it. Shake it like that. You can't. It's evidence. You trying to front and act. I'm so pristine now. I got you in church, Grandma. You was on the hood of an Impala. I'm watching you. What we talking about? Pop.
Right.
That was you riding that lady like she was a Bronco. I'm watching Pop. I know your face. Like what we doing? But we try to give these convoluted I want you to think and believe. You really? Or are we gonna tell the truth and act like we should move from that space and then do better? That's all I'm saying. I get it, but come on, y'all. Let's be honest with ourselves. We all have past too.
And on that note,
a GG. If I was seen on Freaknik on the hood of an Impala, I would have nothing to say. Everything is on me. Your whole life. If you are watching Netflix and you see Gigi on an Impala getting a bit, everything's on me. Your whole life's on me. I got no wins.
Listen, and then you tell your grandkid, yeah, Gigi was having a good time back then. And you let that shit ride. Again, this goes back to what I said earlier. Bitch, I've been that age. You ain't in this age. Right. So yeah, you see, I partied like you partied too. That was back then for me. Your age now, that was me back then. I'm not getting on no fucking Impala right now. First of all, my hip is out. Before we close it, can we talk about that dumb shit right there? How the fuck, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar fell and had to have surgery on his hip.
Oh,
going to a concert. The fuck you going to a concert? Kareem, you can't go to a concert. This nigga going to a concert. The old band that came out when he went to the league, the same year they came out, the same year he came out in the league or whatever. So he was going to endorse them or some shit like that. This nigga blew his whole hip out. Now he in the hospital giving an endorsement from the hospital bag, get a replacement hip. Man, if you don't sit your ass there, Kareem, you done scored 70 million points. Sit down.
Thank you, brother.
So you can't score no more points. Then they're going to get to heaven. They're going to hold this nigga up in the meeting. Then they're going to let him right into the... People that don't know this, that's a little insight. I don't care how good you lived your life. You don't just go right into heaven. There's a thing. There's a room, a section, if you will, before you get to the main class. And you sit down with Jesus and his top 2 ranking peeps, and they go over your shit. And some of your shit, as good as your life might have been, you might have something questionable in there they want to talk about. And you better have a good fucking reason and excuse. Like I said, consequence. Remember we talked about consequences. So they're going to ask you about that thing that you think everybody forgot about. I don't give a fuck that we don't have CDs and laser discs no more. Heaven got all that shit. Then they're going to go in that room, slide that wall, you're going to see all them VHS tapes, whatever your error was. Put that bitch in. What the fuck was you doing right here? It's gonna be you looking in your neighbor window with your dick in your hand. You go, what the fuck is you thinking? Right now. We're gonna leave you in this room to deliberate with yourself for a little while. We'll be back. And you might not get in it. Just so you know. Everything is being recorded and watched. Before all this technology, Sean talking about AI, before all that. God had AI before all of that. Every bit of the way, this is why we do this show and try to splat this shit on the wall and help people out, do what we could do and everything. But it's been a great show. Amir's back. That's dope. B-Love came in, got the female opinion and hits ping on the nails on the head. Sean Harvey right there getting beat with broomsticks. This was a great show. Who knew Sean was getting fucked up? His mother's the strongest mom and all the X-Men and women. His mother was hitting him with stones and ovens. Sean, it's a blessing you still here, my brother. You understand what I'm saying? Thank you, everybody. Thank you for super producer Prophet P. It's been a motivating Monday, and everybody out there, we love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Till next week, with a whole new topic. Come with your A game, or don't play ball at all. We'll see you. Love you. I'm over this Monday. Let's go.
Love you.
It's Monday, cocksuckers, and you better come prepared because they don't fuck around on Monday. Monday, most people come in, I had such a great weekend. Oh my God, go fuck yourself. That was then. This is now, bitch. It's a whole new set of rules. It's Monday.